What's up, Grassroots World? I'm Chris Logan.
I'm Ernie Barber.
And we are the Flagrant 2. Coach, what's happening, man?
Oh, I'm just catching up and getting ready for AAU season. We've got practice this week again, so it'll be our second practice prior to going into this weekend's tournament. So I'm a little nervous about that. Feel a little bit undercooked for that, but I'm excited for it just to see what we have and see how the guys gel and mesh together. So, I just have a standard that I'd like the guys to play at, so I know we'll get there. I think we're going to be a good team this year, but a little nervous about that. But looking at my bracket, seeing how bombed out it is, it's kind of depressing. But still, it's the best time of year for sports.
No doubt. We're deep in the thick of March Madness, and for me, I've been deep. I know you guys are just getting going, but obviously for me, AAU has started a while ago.
Yep. Grassroots,
AAU, call it what you want. I don't care. But anyways, it's already started a little earlier than I think. It's getting earlier and earlier.
Yes.
That's for a topic.
Pretty soon they're going to have tournaments the next day after state's done.
Yeah, exactly. And have fun, for a lot of those kids that were in the state championship game. It's like it's hard to get them ready 5-6 days later. But, Hey, it's the nature of the beast. Been a lot of basketball going on already all over the state, down in the DFW area, of course.
Yep.
We had some teams go down there for the Southern Assault event.
How was that event?
I was actually supposed to go in person, but some things came up. I did watch a lot of games on streaming service, so I think that it looks like a great run event. It always is. I have been before in the past. So, Coach
I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, Coach Vaughn and the Southern Assault, they put a great event on. Honestly, we had a couple Oklahoma teams down there. Team First out of Tulsa, and Next Level was a part of it. And then obviously there's kids on some other teams throughout the state.
Yeah.
Just off the top of the head, like Jason Kim is playing for Unbreakables, Austin-based team on the UA Rise. We got ASAC Elite has Deke Thompson from Sand Springs. They're a 3SSB team. I'm just trying to think. We got guys on Southern Assault.
Yeah.
Brady Handcuff plays on the 17s. Bo Billingsley.
I'm surprised he didn't play for Southern Ties.
I don't know.
That was a strange deal.
I think Southern Assault got a hold of him, and hey, they got
Paul might know the answer to that.
They got a great track record. We might have to get with Paul on that one. But Bo Billingsley is a starting point guard on the 16U for Southern Assault. So Norman's point guard, who good player, has a UCO offer, and a really good player, had a really good state tournament. So I think it's they're expecting big things out of him. There's guys. It's like I've said to somebody, more than ever this year, it seems like everybody's state players are playing further and further away than they normally are.
Yep.
So we got Texas guys are on our teams. We got guys, and that does happen from time to time.
It's starting to happen more, though.
It's happening more, and then it's even we're getting deep down into the Houston area.
Yeah.
I know JL3's got quite a few guys from different divisions. 15U's got Josiah Ankara. We talked about him on the live show, and Graydon Howell, and then Julius Wilson is on their 16U. So it's getting like that. We got guys up in Mocan. We got guys spread across Texas.
Bo's playing down in Texas for a Texas team, and he's working out with Zeph. I'm just trying to think, man, he's got a lot of miles on a vehicle.
I mean, hey, at least he's in the DFW. The guys that are practicing down in Houston, that's a drive every time. I mean, every time you got to get down there. But, they're good programs, and I understand.
8 hours. I've done it many, probably hundreds of times, driven that drive.
Yeah. So, I've done that myself a few times in my life,
Ugh.
I've done it there and back a few times in the same day, so I know all about it.
It's a full day.
Definite drive. But, the good thing about that is, obviously, we have some players, and teams are starting to figure that out, and they're getting guys. We got kids in Arkansas, Texas, and now, what used to just be DFW area, it's Austin, I said, Houston, I think that it's just spread out. It's good to see that in a sense. Of course, we would love to keep every kid in Oklahoma.
Sure.
In the end of the day, but it's whatever is about getting the kid the best exposure, best fit.
Yep.
You know how that goes. So anybody that has stood out to you or surprised you on your team so far, or that you want to talk about, or you want to keep it under the wraps? I understand as well.
I mean, right now we just have one practice. I think we still have a lot to go over this next practice. We'll practice on Thursday in preparation for the weekend. I'm interested. Obviously, I know the guys coming back from last year. We had probably, other than the team that won the next finals last year, we lost to them by 5 in the semifinal game, the toughest game they had all throughout the process.
Who did win?
You had to ask the name of the team. I had to put you on the spot. I can't remember now, but we lost to them by 5 in the semifinals.
It was an out-of-state team, though.
It was an out-of-state team,
okay.
Yeah, and so it was tough, but my thing is getting 5 of the 8 back. The interesting thing for me is going to be those 3 that we bring on. I'm really happy with the 3 we brought on.
Yeah.
We brought Easton Edmondson on. We brought Bryce Cowens on, and then Dustin Edwards. Those 3. And, 2 distribute first point guards and that can, really penetrate and shoot the basketball.
Yeah.
Really, really kind of a little bit more dynamic in certain ways and more aligned with, setting up our other guys and distributing the basketball. I'm real big on ball movement, so I like guys that move the ball, move without the ball. Because if you can shoot, which we've got plenty of shooters,
yep.
I think we'll be in a pretty good situation to knock down a bunch of shots. But
yeah, multiple facilitators.
Yeah, so it's going to be it'll be fun to see. But I'm nervous because it's so guard heavy now.
Yeah.
Right? That when your new pieces are guards.
Yeah.
You've got to. It takes a little bit for you to get on the same page with your guards to figure out what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. Bryce Cowens is another guard. I'd mentioned him earlier.
Out of McLeod, right?
He is sneaky athletic. He's working on his game. He's working out with Zeph as well, and he's working out with Nate as well. I've seen him work out with both, which is good. He's getting a little bit here and there and everywhere, but his game is coming along. I see him having a really, really big spring and summer. He's a kid that I think if he wants to, will play at the next level. I don't know what level. I think it all depends on what I mean, there's a lot of variables there, but I think of the 8 guys we have, I think all of them have the chance to play at the next level. I think they will if they they work hard and continue and they have a good spring, summer, and then go into their senior year playing well, which I anticipate they all will. So. And we've got guys on the team that I think are already having conversations with at the NCAA level, so that's a positive.
Yep.
So we'll see. I think it's really about roles and guys taking their roles seriously and trying to figure out how to help the team win, and at the same time being able to show their abilities. Because my big thing with all the guys is it's 17U, and you know this. It's yes, you want to win because you play on certain courts and certain events, and you get coaches to look at players.
Yeah,
and,
certain matchups.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's not as much about the winning as a 17U coach and organization. It's really about getting them the opportunities to play at the next level and allow them to show their capabilities, and giving them a platform where they can kind of do that.
Yeah.
It's all about playing college basketball. These guys are playing where they're playing because they want to be seen or have the opportunity to be seen. Social media helps out with that tremendously. But then playing on certain circuits and hopefully getting in front of some coaches, whether it be small coaches or NCAA level coaches. That all is what it's about at 17U. So you're playing for scholarships. So.
No, I think absolutely. And sometimes, although it may be early, sometimes the best way to get it going is to jump right into it. Put your feet in the fire or get into the kitchen. So is there a particular matchup that you're looking forward to from this weekend?
The guys want to play Southern Ties this weekend. So that's our first game on Saturday. We've got 4 games this weekend. Our second game is against Southern Ties. So the guys are anxious to test themselves. It's going to be a big test.
Yeah.
My thing is trying to manage the game to our benefit.
Yeah.
And not let them do the things that they like to do. So that's going to be the big challenge for me in getting our guys to understand tempo is critical in games, and you gotta manage it and dictate the tempo as opposed to letting guys play their style of basketball.
Well, from a scouting standpoint, and obviously as just a fan of the game, I believe that that's the game of the entire tournament, in my opinion. From what I've looked over the schedule, that's the game that everybody's been hitting me up about, wants to see. I know I'll be there. I may have to take out a small loan to get in there, but hey, that's a topic again for another day. But anyways, I definitely want to see that matchup, and I visited the Southern Ties mini camp this past weekend and got to see them firsthand. A really well-run organization, seem to be doing things the right way. But you know, me, I'm there to check out all the kids on every team and see who I can help and see if I can find some gems and monitor. I do like their 17U. I think that obviously people are going to be familiar with the Oklahoma guys, and you guys will get to go against them and have seen Roman obviously and Cam Parker and Devon Scott and some of their other guys, but they've got their point guard C.J. Larry out of Arkansas, really good defender, really has a Division I offer from Arkansas Pine Bluff, really good player, good pickup for them. They've got a 6'7" kid, Anthony Granger out of Wichita, real athletic, a wing. Ben Manuel, who will be a reclass kid from Arkansas, 6'5", really athletic. I really like him a lot too. So I came away from that finding some kids that maybe I hadn't seen. Some of them Arkansas kids. Obviously, there's not many kids in Oklahoma that I haven't seen at this point, especially if they're juniors at this point. Roman to me and Devon look great. Roman looks like he got bigger in the last couple months since season only ended.
So what is he, 6'4" now? What is he?
I mean he looks taller than that because of his frame, but he looked good the other day. For the 17s, 16s, Jaden Hopkins looked like he was continuing on from the last time me and you saw him in the state tournament, where he kind of had his coming out party. To those that may have not known him, if you knew Jaden Hopkins prior to that, you're not surprised. That kid is ultra, explosive point guard, and really the future, I think, in Oklahoma in a sense. And I thought Jance Alsup did some good things for them down low on the 16s, so he's going to be a force. 15s, I was checking out. Jasper Chavez got a real chance at a wing there. Nate Lyons, a kid out of Jinx, a point guard. They've got guys, Trey Summers and Merrick Gregory from Dixon. They did it. Coach White and Coach Chev did a good job of getting it a little bit of a mix of bringing some of them smaller town kids in. But
I think that's always good. That's always good. One, exposure-wise, it helps those kids. But two, those kids can play.
Oh, yeah.
And giving them the platform to do it, I think that's always good to have a mix. Because the other thing, too, and coming from a small town myself, you always want to play against the other kids to prove yourself.
Yes.
So those guys always, generally speaking, those guys come with a little bit of a chip to prove themselves. It's a good thing.
I mean, it was cool, and like I said, I always love to get out and see. I've been to a few mini camps or workouts.
Yeah.
I may or may not have been the best shooter in that gym, though. I don't know. I put a little bit of it on display. I was showing them a little bit of my, Trey Young, Steph Curry, but a little sneak peek. Don't want to outdo everybody at once, But me and Roby might have to have us a shooting contest. People might want to pay to see that. First of all,
I would pay to see that. I will tell you this, every year I always do the same thing with my guys. I challenge a couple of the guys. Of course, my son would tell you that I never beat him, but that's a lie. He's taken a few L's from me over the years after practice. He'll never admit it. If he's listening to this, he'll lie if you ever talk to him about it. But he's taken a few L's over the years. The kid didn't become a great shooter by happenstance. There was somebody behind it.
It's in the bloodline, is what you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so, I might have been more of a scorer more than he was. He's more of a pure shooter than I am. But
hey, there's some college kids listening right now that they challenged me lately. one bucket is all we get, and they know who they are. They lost, so just know I still got a little bit left in the tank. A little bit.
I will tell you this:
one point, I'm good. I'm out after that.
I won't name any names, but there was a kid in our organization a few years back that I played one-on-one for the final time in my life, and I about killed me. We played to like 15, twos and ones, and it about killed me because. And I finally decided then my one-on-one career was over with.
Nah, you got to see that. That's where I've gotten wiser now. We're going to one. Okay, it's one bucket. Whoever scores the first.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the way to go. There.
That's it right there. But that's all right. I'm beating kids left and right. So just
I always tell my guys,
get in line.
I always tell my guys that if I could just go back for one day and be in my peak form, just for one day, I would love to do that. Just so the kids could know that, hey, look, 90s basketball was more competitive than you think it was.
Oh, yeah.
I can assure you.
A lot more physical.
Just athletically, it's no different. I'm here to tell you that these kids are not more athletic than the guys I played with.
No, but the other thing is that you were able to get away with physicality more. So you were able to bang a little harder and get away with some.
And we played a lot more pickup, so you didn't get the BS calls. Kids are so used to playing organized basketball.
Yeah.
When you play pickup ball, this is men's game.
Oh yeah.
You don't call ticky tack nonsense.
We
There's real basketball.
There was guys losing teeth and busted lips and black eyes and all that.
I came down on a guy's head one time, and my back tooth has been splintered in the back of one of my molars in the back of my mouth has been splintered ever since because I came down on his head and it splintered the back of my tooth, and I basically am running down the court spitting out bits of my teeth as I'm playing.
But you know what? You didn't even come out the game.
No, I didn't.
That's 90s basketball.
I did not. I did not. It's like we had to win, man. You got to have your players on the floor to win.
That's 90s basketball. Yeah. That's old school mentality. But the game has changed like all. It's evolving. It's not that people are necessarily more athletic.
No.
But we've talked about on many of the other pods, it's the skill training and the kids.
The shooting and the ball handling, the level has gone up.
Yeah.
But the mid-range game and getting to the rim and being aggressive, rebounding the basketball and being aggressive defensively at the rim, those things have changed dramatically from what they used to be.
Well, I don't know. If you listened, did you hear the LeBron James and JJ Redick podcast? Have you seen it yet? I think they have a second episode comes out tomorrow.
I saw a little snippet of it.
Yeah, but episode 1, I watched it, and we're going to give them free pub like they need it because they're going to be taking over the podcast world with that show. I'm all in on that because it's not only one of the greatest players that ever played. Whatever rank you have him in, he's one of the greatest.
For sure, without a doubt.
And JJ is a great basketball mind, but the two of them breaking down actual sets and things like that is similar. We've done some stuff like that on here, but I think that they're doing it at a whole nother level. And I think that why I brought that up was LeBron was talking about the most influential basketball players in the last 20, 30 years, and he actually said it was Curry and Iverson, not Jordan, which some are going to say Jordan changed the game, but I agree. When I looked into like what he was talking about, is that there's not many Jordans left in today's game.
I understand what he's saying.
Bunch of Currys.
I understand what he's saying.
They're not as good as Curry, but everybody wants to shoot it.
No,
from
I would agree with that completely. I mean, he's not it's not sliding Jordan. What he's saying is that. The game and the way they play it.
Yeah.
AI, when he came in, was just breaking people. Like he was smaller, but
guard.
But he was dynamic.
Yeah.
And you couldn't stand in front of him. He is, and still to this day, I know Steph Curry is amazing. And the way he was able to shoot deep and coming from Davidson and doing all the things that he's done. But AI, to me, was the most dynamic point guard I've ever seen in the league. When he came into the league, he was a problem.
Yes.
And you couldn't stand in front of him. He's too quick. And I remember seeing him in Georgetown going, this guy might be the quickest human being I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And he's strong. I mean, he's only 160 pounds, maybe
soaking wet.
And strong and can get to the rim, finish strong. I've never seen an athlete like him. So I mean,
one of the
I don't.
most
There's a lot of things I don't necessarily agree with LeBron and the whole GOAT discussion. But I will say this: I agree with that topic and what he's saying.
Yeah.
Those two have changed the game because now all the kids are modeling their game after those two.
No, absolutely.
They don't realize they're modeling their game after AI, but AI was before Steph.
Yes.
Right. He allowed Steph to come in and do what he does because AI was before him. But I completely agree
and
with
I think that all ties into exactly what you were saying a little bit ago of how the game has kind of changed. It's more obviously 3-point shooting, and it's now 3-point shooting. You're in range when you cross half court, like guys
with these guys
and the way that they're shooting right now. You're in range at any time.
Dame, and you could name 5, 6, 7 guys that when they cross half court are ready to shoot.
Yep, and they all go off of, like you said, it's Iverson, and then it went into Curry, and it's got the littler guards because Curry's not really little.
6'3",
yeah, he's not really little, but his style of play changed the evolution of basketball going forward.
Yep.
And now guys like Wembayana, I don't know how many of them there are going to be, but talk about, once again, he's changing the evolution of what a basketball player can do at that size. And I mean, I don't know how many of those guys are ever going to be there, but I will say this: once there's one, there always seems to be another down the pipeline.
They get motivation from it. They see, he's big, tall, and long and lean, and he has these skill sets. Why can't I develop those skill sets?
Yeah.
And kids now, all the kids are out training with trainers, working on ball handling, working on shooting, working on one-on-one situations.
Yeah.
I mean, it's big money.
No,
it's $1 billion industry.
$1 billion. Yep, that's it. It's a big time business. So I just wanted to hit on that. But to get back to some of the games we saw, because that's what we always do is kind of recap the week. Back to that Southern Assault event. Obviously, I fired up a bunch of games. We talked about this team on the last live pod, the Next Level squad, which I said that day that I thought that they had some shooters, and they proved to be right. They went undefeated down there in Texas, and I thought they played really well. In the first game,
Oklahoma.
Yep. In the first game, I thought for them that I watched, it was against a Texas team, and I can't remember who it was, but they ended up winning. Rylan Phillips is like a 6'4" forward, wing from Norman North. I thought he shot really well in the first game. Did some things around the bucket. I think he's a kid that probably not a lot of people know the name. I think that he's probably primed to have a big senior season for Norman North, and I thought that he did some really good things for them. Same with Bryce McConnell, who's from Piedmont, 6'5", big guy. I thought with their guys, they don't have a guy on the team that can't shoot. Like they're all good shooters, and you have a team similarly built like that. Yep. But it works as long as those guys can rebound and do some of the things that you need from your big guys. Yep. They can also spread the floor and go 5 out, and everybody got a chance to shoot. And spacing is key. Mm-hmm. So I thought he did well in the first game. I thought Carter Romanos in the second half showed exactly what he had been doing all year. I mean, it was steal after steal, dunks, threes. I thought Carter Romanos looked about what we expected from him, which we said he's.
So let me ask you this. And I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I wanted to ask this because he's such an intriguing prospect.
Absolutely.
Do you see him being a top 10 player in the state? Possibly.
I think that if you're going off of production and what he's currently doing, he's close. Yeah, he's close in that top 10.
I would say. I mean, I'm thinking that out loud when I ask that is that he's. I mean, in terms of production, what he's done at El Reno this year, and then now he's coming in. He had a good spring and summer last year.
Yeah.
I just see that kid just continuing to rise, and he's going to be a kid. No matter where he goes, he's going to be an impact player.
He's a very intriguing prospect because he's well rounded on every side of the and it seems like to me
been coached well too.
Yeah,
That's
I don't know. Between him and Jeremiah Johnson, we shout him out again. Between the two of them, I don't know who led in steals, but those are two of the best steals guys you'll see, which gets the team on the break and does a lot of good things for their teams. Transition. I thought Carter blew that first game up in the second half. Did great. The second game I watched, and he's playing up Jaden Narde out of Deer Creek, which he's known as an on-ball defender, pesky, plays hard. I like him. I thought, to me, what he showed me in that tournament was his three ball. He was lights out in the second game.
Good.
And to me, that's kind of what I've been waiting to see with him. I think that's promising for Deer Creek's future, depending on what they do. Because remember, he's only a 2026 playing up, so he's got a lot of upside. When Jaden shoots the ball like that, he looks like a lot of people thought he would coming in his freshman year, where he was really highly touted. And you know that it goes like that, including Carter. We talked about it was like Carter came in. He was a Team Griffin kid, shoe circuit guy. Kind of the next year, it's not that he had a bad year.
Yeah.
He just kind of went under the radar.
A little flatter than what people were thinking.
And then boom. Monster season this year in his junior year with El Reno, and quite possibly I would have him in the top 2 or 3 guys that I think stock risen the most. Especially maybe regardless of class, but at least in that class. And so when we start saying top 10, you got to go down the line of guys.
Depends on the list that you have. It's all personal, choice. But
I mean, we start because what I always tell people is when you're doing a ranking is like there's the ranking of production by stats, wins, and then college level prospect.
Yes.
And then we get into some of our college level prospects are possibly going to play football. So then do we take them, and I'm not going to ever take them out of a ranking.
No, I agree with you.
Not for me. I won't do that, but people will go, well, okay, we can't count them two guys.
Some coaches are that way too.
Absolutely. Some of these guys need some offers.
Yep.
CJ, and since the last pod, I know Jaden Nickens decommitted from OU and wants to play both. I mean, I love it.
Which is what he's looking for.
I think he's the kid that can handle it. Like, I don't know that everybody can, and I'm not sure how many big-time Division I's will allow it, but if there was ever a time or a kid, he'd be one that I would probably take that risk on.
If a D1 kid wants, a D1 school wants him, that's your ticket.
Offer him both.
Offer them both.
I think that's what he needs, and I think he would be a stud in both.
That's what he wants to do.
It's just going to be hard because we were talking about it on one of our prior pods. Like we can't find a guy that had played both in a long time. And recently I found someone. He played at Oklahoma State 2019, but he was a walk-on on football and a walk-on on men's basketball and made both squads. So, and mostly did scout team stuff and things like that.
Which is a lot different.
It is different, but I mean, that's even impressive because I don't even know that there's many high major guys even doing that anymore.
That's a good point.
It overlaps.
It's impressive regardless. Yeah, it's a good point.
So,
but being able to contribute or do it is a huge thing. But when you're looking at Nickens, this is a kid that lives for those situations. The problem is, and I think this is the part that a lot of people don't understand when they get to the next level, especially the D1 level, and if you're talking Power 5 football, it takes such a toll on your body. I mean, think about this way, okay? Nickens is such a superior athlete at the high school level. How often do you think he gets hit hard or gets beat or he's the best athlete on the field 9 times out of 10 when he steps on, whether he's football or basketball.
Yes.
But in football, he's no longer going to be that guy. He's going to be surrounded by guys that are just like him.
Yeah.
Fast, strong, just can do everything.
Yeah.
And, going through those workouts and then playing those physical games on the weekends, that takes its toll on you. And then when you get through the season, because you're lifting and then you're doing this, and there's just so much that goes into football. It takes a toll on you mentally.
On the body. And the body, mental. No, you're right on both. I mean, I think you're absolutely 100% correct. I think that's why it's not happening anymore. I think that the demand and the training has gotten so – it never ends.
It's a science anymore. Yeah. And now it's to play at that level is so difficult. I mean, if you want to play for an SEC school in football and then think you're going to go play basketball.
Yeah.
There are guys, he's a special talent. But the one thing you and I don't do is we don't get up and go through the grind of an SEC school football schedule, school, travel, getting your face knocked in practice, lifting, and then getting killed on Saturday, and then trying to do it all over again and think, oh, well, and then after the season's over with, that you don't need a break.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
So
I would just like to see it.
I'd love to see it.
I would love to see it again.
I think if you – and this is where schools – if the right school comes along, you could see it with him.
Yeah.
I absolutely could do it. I'm wondering what school that is. That's going to be where a school needs him for one, and then needs him for the other, and then has a spot for him that suits him.
Would you go, if it was you? Would you go to a smaller Division I if you could do both? I mean, that's got to be the thought process.
Yeah, I mean, my thought process is if he wants to go in and play and contribute at both.
Yeah,
I think he's probably looking at like mid-major, right?
Yeah.
Possibly.
I mean, if they'll even do it, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, if there's anybody that can do it, he's definitely a kid that could probably.
And the name I was thinking of is Gabe Simpson, is the kid from Oklahoma State and he might be the last. And I know he walked on both, but he made the teams, and he actually got in the game for Oklahoma State in basketball back in like 2019 or somewhere around there, 2020 maybe.
COVID time period.
During COVID when they had some even tryouts for guys, but he made both. But I'm like, we were thinking about it because Julius Peppers was the last guy I could remember.
He was a beast.
I mean, you want to talk about an athlete? Maybe one. Yeah, he was unbelievable
for North Carolina. Unbelievable on the football field, and then played basketball. He was a little bit of an undersized 3-4, if you will.
Yeah, 4 really, probably.
Because he was big and strong, but he wasn't as tall as some. But he made it work, and he got plenty of playing time.
And then had a Hall of Fame career for the Carolina Panthers years later.
One of the better football players in recent memory.
Defensive end. So he was really good. But I mean, I just was thinking about that when I saw that Gabe Simpson had played for both. I'm like, that brings us back to some of the conversations we've had. And I
would also say the style of play that Nickens plays too is it takes a lot of energy. If he's a defensive back or receiver or whatever, a skilled position in football, it takes a lot out of you. One, you're getting hit or you're running a lot. That takes a lot of energy, and then to go and then play that same style of basketball up and down, where he's a scorer, he's athletic, he's dynamic. It just takes a lot of energy.
No, absolutely. So. And I just want to go tie it back into the Southern Assault event. The second game that Next Level played was an Oklahoma battle. Matter of fact, they played team first, so 2 Oklahoma teams went down to Texas, of course, and got the matchup. And that was the game that Narde hit a bunch of shots. Next Level beat Team First. But Team First has a couple guys that we both like in Corbin Gunn, the point guard from Union, who I thought played well, and Jamari Simpson from Booker T. Yep. So 2 guys that had really good junior seasons for their respective teams. Both teams made state. Both kids I expect to have really, really big time senior seasons. And
Next Level beat them, huh? What was the score of that game?
That one was close. That one was like 49, 43. It was something like by 6 points, something close. That one was pretty close. So Next Level starting out really well on the season, and be intrigued to watch them and Team First going forward. I also watched Team Trey Young play down there, 16s, who me and you actually had saw.
I like the 16s.
We like their team. I will continue to tell you guys about Brennan Malone, the 26 from Lawton Mac. He is a elite glue guy, elite role player. And when I talked about him on our live pass, maybe some people didn't listen in the live, but I said that we counted all these kids in the 26 class, and I've told you, I think the 26 class might be the deepest class right now.
Yeah.
We counted kids that were D1. No one counted for Brennan Malone, but I sure did. And I remember I'd seen him one other time the summer prior, but that was not where he jumped off the page. It was at the Carl Albert. They had a tri-scrimmage with Weatherford, them, and Lawton Mac.
I remember that.
And I posted about him, and every coach, grassroots coach in the state and out of state hit me about him. And I'm telling you right now, shot blocker, elite level, energy, elite level. Just a guy, his plus minus, I bet, is the highest on when he's in the game, the team wins. When he comes out of the game, the team, because he just does, he plays so hard.
Well, it kind of makes me think. I was listening to a deal where one of the podcasts with Paul Pierce and a couple of the other ex-NBA players, and they were talking about Rodman. And Rodman's ability, his superpower was his energy.
Yes.
He of course he was strong and he was smart and he did everything. He did all the things he did.
Yeah.
But his motor was high, and to me, if you can overcome a lot, let's say you're a little undersized, maybe you're 6'5" and you're wanting to play a 3, instead of being 6'7", 6'8" at the D1 level. But if you got a motor, a high motor, and it's always on, you can make up for being a little undersized when you play with that level of motor. And I think a lot of these kids don't understand that coaches are needing motors.
Yeah.
They need guys that don't turn off, that give 100% all the time. And if you do that, they'll allow some of those other things to not be 100% or exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah.
If the effort is just really high, and you're able to obviously play athletically and do some of the other things, but I think that's one of the things that those guys were talking about on that podcast that I think a lot of college coaches look for, and that's a really high motor. Like, motivation is really high.
Now, here's an age-old question: Can a motor be taught? What do you think on that?
You get into I don't think you can teach a motor. I think you're either born with it or you're not.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with motivation, what drives you.
Yeah.
And I think that just, if you're doing something that you're not driven by, then you're not going to be motivated. But if you are just built that way, and you love the game like that, I mean, you could say all you wanted about, Rodman's off the floor antics and all the things he did, but when he got on the floor, he was professional and he was motivated. Yeah, like to prove everybody, I will dominate the boards.
He could go party in Vegas for 5 days, but when he showed back up that year in the championship, he left the team and they were worried about him, and he showed up and went right to work, and they won a title.
And Garnett was talking about this too, is that he would, after the games, go work out, lift, and do workouts that were insane after the basketball games he played in. And it allowed him to do back-to-backs and keep himself in great shape. But point is that the motor, I don't think you can teach it. You're either born with it or you're not. But
no, and I think he's a perfect example because I think Brennan Malone is exactly that type of player. I think he's a Rodman-esque player. Yeah. And
got to have those guys on your
few and far between those are anymore. Yep. But it's like if we say skill set is he's an excellent three-point shooter, he's an elite passer. That's a skill set now that's like that's a glaring skill set that stands out, and it can literally dictate the level if you have the positional size to go along with it. And sometimes, like you said, maybe be a little undersized with that elite motor. That can get you further than what some think. So he's interesting when he's on the floor. That's someone I want to keep an eye on. Yeah, he's a definite kid that I think coaches will tap in with immediately on the 3SSB circuit. I'm already tuned in with him. I thought Aiden Clark, it will be from Inola. He will work his way in. I think they got to, they're just figuring out some things on how to get him involved a little bit more. But I always love his versatility. I think that team, Trae Young, 16, is versatile. We talked about him a few times already.
Yeah, they're dangerous.
They're going to be good. So that was pretty much that tournament. I also in person hit up the BTR main event. And caught a couple games there. Some of the semifinals and the championship game. I thought, and the championship game was Grind, who Grind Prep has their own AAU team now. And they
So does that melt into the kids on that team? Or are they in the
Most of them are. Okay. I don't believe they're going to get every kid that. Now, maybe some of them are going to go to Grind next year, but I know like Jaden Williams, who I thought had.
He was.
I mean, he was just spectacular this weekend.
I mentioned, you and I talked about this off the podcast, but he was a kid I really wanted to have for our squad this spring and summer.
Yeah.
Didn't work out, which we landed on our feet anyway. But he's somebody that stuck out to me. Been in the AET system for a number of years with Steven.
Yeah.
I'm aware of a lot of those players, and then obviously Ransom and some others. But yeah, he had a standout weekend. I mean, the highlight of him this weekend was off the page.
It might be the best in-game dunk I've seen.
It was pretty
at
good.
least from an Oklahoma team.
Yeah.
An Oklahoma guy. It's been some years since I saw one like that. It's like
he was actually on somebody, and he made contact in the air and still finished it.
And got higher. After he made contact, it's like it elevated him up even higher. And he's got a good body because his arms are so long. It's like
really long.
He's got to have one of the longer wingspans for a 6'2", 6'3"
His lower
guard.
body's strong too.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And he's an excellent defender, great shooter.
Yeah.
The quietest. And I put that on social media. Quietest, humble kid that I've ever met. And
always been very quiet.
Whenever something is posted about him, or like when it's Douglas, it's always him sharing everything about his teammates. It's like he is the prototype type of kid that I would want on my college program. I think that he will get a ton of offers and things like that coming in his senior year. Maybe as early as this summer, but definitely by his senior year. He's a kid that can play. His upside is very high. I look for him to do some special things. And that's when we talked about Romanos and Tavares Deans from Lawton. The maturation of Jaden Wood, like doing rankings is hard.
Yes.
I mean, it really is because guys like that are on a given day are a top 10 kid. I mean, and all three of those guys could be put into that top 10 ranking. But when you start to do it, that means you got to take some people out. And that's the hardest part is lowering guys. So you just got to base it off of what is that ranking? Is this going to be based off of how are they playing right this second? Versus what is their long-term projection? That's a different, and sometimes it's similar, but a lot of times it can be completely different.
Yeah, it can be. I'd say more often it's probably different just because of projection.
So
length, size.
So that championship game was a good. The first half was tied, and grind prep standouts. I would say definitely Jaden Williams. I thought Christian Payne. I'm sorry. The 6'6", and he reclassed to 2026 as well. I thought he did some good stuff. Second chance buckets, fast break, transition stuff. I thought he did really well. Noah Clark, who was at Tuttle, big man, I thought he was a menace. I mean, I don't think anybody could stop him down there. He might have
we talked
10
to him
dunks
as well.
in a game.
We talked to him as well. I've known him for a number of years. My son played with him. It's been, I don't know, when they were probably 11 or 12, maybe somewhere in there. So Noah's been...
And I like that he was showing some of his turnaround off one leg shot. I think that he needs to keep working that. If that becomes his go-to move, it will elevate him as far as what he's doing because athletically and long and does some things, versatile, he's all there. I think when he shows off some of that skill set with his back to the basket and some of that stuff, because he can face up, obviously, but when he does some of that stuff, when we talked about some of the bigger guys in Oklahoma, when they start to block shots and be a big man, it just opens up their game from the inside out. I thought he was there. I thought Nate Murathai from Putnam City West, who's also a 26 playing on that team, I thought that he is lob central. He must have caught 6-7 dunks off lobs. I mean, throws them dunks down hard, too.
I watched the deal that Chaos put out. D'Angelo put out a video on YouTube of the weekend and kind of some of the things, and I got to see behind the scenes. But then also that game, it showed a lot of highlights from that game. And I got to see a lot of the things that you're talking about.
It was a good game in the first half. Second half, grind, in my opinion, just out-rebounded them. And I did see the first little bit of shout-out to the Chaos guys for putting that that episode together. I did watch the first little part of it, and he said we can't get out rebounded, and that is what happened. And as he knew with being undersized, he knew what they had a lot of height. That's what happened in that second half. A lot of second chance opportunities ended up getting them, and Grime pulled away and won the main event championship. And I think Jaden Williams would have been the MVP of that tournament because his team won. But on the other side for Chaos, I thought Mark Jackson from Midwest City, great basketball name, by the way. There's been quite a few of those.
Mark Jacksons.
Been a few Mark Jacksons that have come through the professional ranks and all. But I thought Mark Jackson, who would come off the bench for Midwest City, is known as a catch-and-shoot guy, but I thought he showed a little bit of the three-level scoring. He did some more things than I even thought he was, ready to do with his finishing at the rim with either hand. He just looked confident. He looked confident. He looked like it's a good fit for him with Chaos because he's going to be their primary scorer, and we know his high school team had a lot of guys that could do that. Yeah.
So sometimes you just take on the role that your school needs to help you help them win. And kudos to him for doing that. He did a great job of that this year. And obviously, Midwest City won the state title in 5A. But when they get to spring and summer ball, sometimes those guys need to step up. And I'm glad to hear that he's doing that because that'll help his recruiting opportunities.
Yeah. And then they also have his teammate in Midwest City, Jarvis Nash, who could have been
made some big plays in state.
Could have been player of the game really with the timely plays he made in the championship game
and scoring double digits in that game.
Yeah, scoring double digits and defensively what he brings, that's special. Elijah Garcia, the point guard. Just a crafty, shifty kid. Has one of the better crossovers in the quickest crossovers. I like him. I think that Chaos team, they bring it, and you better be ready to play them because we know how they get coached and what's expected from them. But I think for Midwest City next year, it will be interesting because if they bring back the exact team, they lose Roy Henderson. Can Mark Jackson fill that role? Yeah. Because that's big shoes to fill. Roy Henderson had a hell of a year. Yeah. So it will be up to him or. And
everybody else is going to be reloading too because you don't know who's going to end up where.
No.
So.
The transfer portal is live. We see DeMario Adams moving over to East Central from Nathan Hale. It's already begun on the east side. And more to come. Stay tuned on that. It's definitely more to come. But and more to come at East Central. And I'm hearing some big time names. I'm not going to say them out there yet.
Yeah, you alluded to that. Yeah.
Maybe on our premium service you can get but
Wait a minute, we got a premium service.
But anyway,
come on that, right?
Yeah, but anyways, DeMario Adams is got every tool known. Basketball, if you're going to create a player, it's like his body is the type of creative player you would have. So that's a big move for them. It looks like East Central's kind of reloading their program, and they might be a force in 5A next year as we get into it. And they will need to be because the team across from them in Booker T over there is special. And we've already alluded to them quite a few times. So I like that matchup. I also watched the 16U semifinal game, which had Grind 16U versus Chaos 16U, so it was a lot of the same teams. I thought Grind. Now they had a guy in David Douglas who's really a Team Griffin guy playing for them, and David, he was a 2028. 1 minute I hear he's a 27, one he's a 28, maybe. Coach, someone can reach out to us and let us know what he actually is now. But regardless, he was an 8th grader playing and being Grind Prep starting point guard during the school year. And him and his team was down by 20. They were down by 22 points with under 10, maybe under 9 minutes left in the game, and they won. So David Douglas, who got MVP of the circuit the week before in the 16U, that kid is unbelievable. He's going to be special, and he's running with Team Griffin, so 15U. So we'll see. But he was playing up on the 16U, and his teammate Isaac Sanders, who was a standout for Booker T all season long, which I was surprised he was even down there. I didn't expect to see him there. I like Isaac a lot. Isaac's a big-time shot maker. He's just a gamer. Yeah. Kind of an undersized two guard, but can do a little backup PG. Great shooter. I thought that grind team, they to come back from that many points with that much time. So
after seeing that this weekend, I saw that Grind Prep won the 17U, and I'm like, man, that trophy looks familiar. I had to go back in the trophy case room at the house and
you got one?
I've got one of those. I was sitting there thinking, when did we win that? It was a couple years back, but that was a warm-up tournament for us going into Next Pro.
Oh, I remember. I actually remember that. That was
23, 22? 22. It was the
22.
It was the 8th annual, so it would have been 2 years.
Okay, this is the 10th. Yeah, this was the 10th one. So if it was the 8th, then that's 2 years ago. It's about right. I remember that.
Sitting there, I saw that yesterday, and I was like, do we have one of those? And I just got to look around.
And you were playing at the OAC or
yes.
I think formerly the Lighthouse. I think that might have been the game might have been there, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's where it was.
So, you guys have won it. And I think D'Angelo's team has won it since then. I think they've won it ever since. So,
so we did it. We 2 years in a row we did it, and I think we won. Well, I know we won 17U, but I think we won 16U. We didn't do it last year. We did a different tournament last year, but this year we just decided with what we're doing this year in terms of scheduling is we're doing a lighter April and a little bit warm, getting a couple more in May, going into school ball in June. Hopefully the coaches, and I'll beg and plead, don't wear the guys out. And then we've got a full every weekend in July is every weekend. And what I've done in the past is it's been fairly full April and May, and then they go to school ball, and then they come back and you've got live period. Yeah. And our guys were dead tired. Like they would play 30, 40 games in school ball in a 30-day period. Like they play a lot. Okay. Well, if you do a full April, May, and then do a full June like that, I mean that's just unbelievable. Yeah. You come in July when you got to be fresh. Yeah. And you want to play well at the right time. So I figured, you know what, we're going to do a little lighter in April and May this year. Obviously, school ball will be what it is, depending on where the guys go to school and what those schedules look like. But July, hopefully we won't wear them out. We'll give them enough time. Yeah. And then they'll have school ball, and then they'll come in, and we'll be geared and ready to go for a full July. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah. We're playing a little bit light in April. We'll play this weekend and then the following weekend at the circuit down in Dallas. And then we'll take off for, 3 weekends. Okay. I mean, we're just
get some practices in.
Yeah, get practices in and really kind of sharpen the pencil. Yeah. And then try that out again in May, a couple tournaments in May. Yeah. And then go into the break. Hopefully, the guys will still be fresh and they won't get killed by their school ball teams.
Well, I'm hoping that there's some more of these kind of private scrimmages that'll go on. And I know that your team, I was contacted about this weekend, but I said, hey, they're playing. I know they're playing in a tournament. Otherwise, I'm sure that they would have got in.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll you and I have talked about it. We're open to it. So if coaches have teams, games that are scrimmages that they'd like to do, we definitely will.
And I'm all for let's get these private runs going, and I'll we'll find a place, and we'll have the Okie ball coverage on there if we can get some of these guys.
It only helps the kids.
Yeah, and it's maybe matchups we're not going to get any other way if we don't do it like this. So I'm looking forward to catching. There might be one this weekend, and if the Southern Ties a road game's not going on, because I do want to see that as a basketball fan of Oklahoma. If that's not going on, I want to check out these little private scrimmages that are possibly going on. So with some of the better teams, so always down to check that out.
I wanted to say this too while we're sitting here talking about it, because this is something that you and I have talked about, and I want to do this. Is the kids coming back after the year being gone, playing in college? Yeah. Hit Chris and I up, because I got ideas on what we might do there for all the college kids and some of the best high school kids in the state as well.
For sure. Yeah, reach out. We got some stuff coming down the line. I think that we can just end this off with some maybe Final Four stuff.
Yeah.
Or Final Four, but just in general, the March Madness, anything that jumps out to you. I know we have the Flagrant 2 has our own bracket challenge, and currently David Turner, who is a lifelong listener of the Flagrant 2 podcast, he is leading the way with. He's kicking our ass, but he's doing pretty good with some of his picks. Yeah, congrats, Impressive. David. You're up there right now.
Mine's trash. I don't know why I even have the paper here because I should just burn it. This is why I love basketball so much, because then you get into picking these and you think, man, I've been around the game for 30-some years, dating myself here.
Yeah.
I know what I'm talking about. And then you get into these and you're like, no, I have no idea what I'm talking about because my bracket is.
Yeah.
Now, I have 2 of the 4 in the finals, if it plays out the way I have in my bracket, are still eligible. So that's not too bad. But there are some people doing a lot better than me. And
what I did this year was it doesn't happen all the time. I just picked the number ones, and we talked about it off air.
Yep.
I have UNC winning it all, but
it's a good choice.
And I have them beating Houston, but I am somehow rooting. I am an honorary Creighton Blue Jay for the rest of the tournament. I'm pulling for Trey Alexander. I want to see Trey win this thing, but also, and I'm going to rub the crystal ball, this tournament, Trey Alexander has done exactly what I thought he would, and every game that Trey Alexander wins is moving him up 2 spots, 3 spots in the draft at a time.
Yep.
And I rub that crystal ball because 2 years ago, it was the first game of I want to say, 2022 was the first game of the season, and I said that he's a first-round pick. And I know last year he could have been close. He was right on that borderline between top of the second round, and it was a gamble if you stayed in. So when he came back, I said, come back, win, lottery pick in 24. Will that happen? He's getting closer because every game he has, like he did the other night, playing 50 minutes or whatever he played and balling out like that, every time he plays like that and they win and move on to the next round, and I do have them beating Tennessee.
I do too.
So I think that the further he gets, he's working his way up that draft board as we speak.
They match up really well with Purdue, too. So if they're able to get by Tennessee, which Tennessee is a really talented team, the 2 seed in the Midwest bracket.
Yeah.
Creighton, they've got all the pieces on that team. I mean, they're well coached. They've got all the pieces in terms of being a championship-level team. Purdue, I have Purdue winning it all. They've killed me the last couple of years. But they match up really well with Purdue.
Because I was going to say, if any team has someone to take Eddie, it's Kalkbrenner.
Absolutely.
Who's 7'2" himself.
And they've got a backup to him that's a really solid player,
so they
too.
are built to possibly get past them. When Creighton, when Shai and all those guys are all and Kalkbrenner and Alexander are on, they can beat anybody in this tournament.
No doubt about it. And I was just getting ready to say, skill-wise, their guard positions are better for Creighton than Purdue.
Yeah.
I think that Purdue's been playing well, don't get me wrong, but I think Creighton's got I picked Purdue.
Yeah.
Which I've done for years. I'm just going to keep picking Purdue until they win one.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's ever going to happen. But it wouldn't surprise me at all. That the winner of that game, I think, ends up in the national title game, and when you get there, anything can happen.
Absolutely. So I think it's exciting. We got games, I think, on Thursday and Friday. Kicks off again, and obviously we will be live from Norman for the Pro 16 tournament. I know you need to get to our sponsors if you want to run those off right quick.
Yeah, I'll do that real quick. We got a new sponsor. I'll get to that here in just a second. We'll start off with Nate Logan, Logan Elite Basketball, training out of Destiny Christian High School in Del City, Oklahoma. Nate provides affordable group and individual training options every week. Logan Elite Training aims to help players develop their skill sets, basketball IQ, confidence, and ultimately help them become more prepared for their current teams as well as the next level. Logan Elite currently trains some of the best high school and junior high players, including the number one player in Oklahoma. Visit LoganEliteBasketball.com or message Logan on Instagram at NateLogan_Logan Elite for more information on how to get signed up. If you're looking for a good trainer, there's plenty of them out there, but Nate is by far, in my opinion, one of the very, very best. And shout out to Nate with Logan Elite.
We always appreciate Nate's support, and he's a great trainer. So thanks, Nate.
Yep. So, and then we've got a new sponsor, Redwood Roofing is Oklahoma's premier partner for all your roof replacement and insurance claim management needs. In our many years of serving Oklahoma from all corners of the state, we found that the vast majority of homes in Oklahoma already have existing hail damage that their owners are completely unaware of. More importantly, most homeowners have no idea that when your roof reaches 10 years old, your insurance policy has a built-in trigger called a cash value conversion that reduces the amount your insurance will pay to replace your roof by as much as 50%. In most cases, this means that if you let your roof age beyond 10 years, it will cost you in excess of $10,000 out of pocket to ever have it replaced. At Redwood, we make it our mission to inform and protect hardworking Oklahomans from this devastating insurance trap. If you'd like to learn more, one of our team members would love to take a quick look at your roof and let you know if you're a candidate for the new roof while the insurance will still cover the full cost of the replacement. No cost, no obligation, no sales pitch. We can even do the inspection with no contact. Simply text you pictures of your roof if you prefer. In Oklahoma City or on the west side of the state, call or text former OU football great Caleb Kelly at 559-326-4019. In Tulsa or the east side of the state, call or text Oklahoma Prep Hoops guru Paul Harvey at 918-698-1280. If you prefer a no-contact option, you can schedule a free inspection on our website at www.redwoodok.com. And one of our team will simply text you photos of your roof. Your roof is quite literally the protective covering of the epicenter of your family's life. Choosing the right partner to help manage and protect is one of the most important home ownership decisions that you'll ever make, and we make it our mission to ensure it's one that you hit out of the park. That's why we make every recommendation, set every expectation, measure every result by one simple standard. What would I do if I were raising my family here? Redwood Roofing has you covered. I would just say this in terms of shout out to Redwood Roofing and the new sponsors of the Flagrant 2 podcast. I would say this timeliness too, because obviously hail and damage is coming from spring. So if you get hail damage, check out Redwood Roofing. It's so hard to get off your tongue, but. Shout out to them for being a new sponsor of the podcast.
Absolutely.
And we're so thankful for them and what they're doing for us. So.
I was just going to say we appreciate these companies for understanding the value that we offer, and we appreciate their business as well. But they understand that our audience is just growing and growing by the week, and they really are buying in at the right time, and we really appreciate them. And speaking of that, if you have anything that you need to have sponsored, get with Coach Barber or myself, and we'll get you lined up. The list is getting longer by the week, and you know the price is right if you get in early enough. But
if you get in early, it's a lot more competitive. Yeah. So I highly recommend getting with us as soon as you can. We'd love to partner with you.
Yeah, and I heard you in there say, Paul, the Oklahoma guru. I mean, is Texas claiming him right now? I don't know.
I don't know.
Paul,
Southern Salt.
Paul, we might need an answer on that. I don't know. He's definitely definitely an Oklahoma guy, but just giving him a hard time. But we definitely appreciate the business from these guys, and look forward to adding some more sponsors as we go.
Yep.
Looking forward to this weekend, big time matchups. We're really just getting going in the grassroots basketball. It's really starting. It's just getting going. Long spring and summer. Ready to get out, check out some games, some prospects.
It's going to be weird having to wear Puma shoes, man. I'm gonna have to get used to that. I'm gonna wear my Jordans or throwing out the shoe game. I'm gonna have to. I don't know. That's different. I've been trying to search for some Puma shoes that I can, have a little bit of a variation.
Yes.
But I don't know.
I don't know.
It's I just feel weird wearing. I mean, I'll get used to it. Don't get me wrong. But
everybody knows I'm a Jordan, Nike, but Jordan guy. But if you have any Adidas Puma gear and you want to send it somewhere, I might be able to wear it. I'm just putting that out there. I might wear it for you.
Hey.
I mean, hey, you never know. I mean, I can easily be changed over. My allegiance isn't that strong, nah. But anyways, we appreciate all the sponsors. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube, please do so. If you're not following all of our social medias, please follow the Flagrant 2 on everything, Instagram, X. If you're not following Okie Ball, then you really don't like basketball, so you shouldn't even be listening to this. But anyways,
what are you doing with your life?
Yeah, what are you doing with your life if you're not on Okie Ball, the premier basketball coverage in the state of Oklahoma, and soon to be region. But anyways, we appreciate you guys. Look forward to seeing you guys this weekend. If you see me or Coach, come holler at us.
Yes,
let us know how much money you lost at the door. But anyways, we appreciate you guys. Oklahoma, we're out. Peace.